Life is always changing, and as you evolve, your boundaries will evolve too. What was acceptable to you in the past may no longer serve you in the present, and that's okay. Boundaries are fluid, and they need to be adjusted as you grow. But once you get in the habit of setting them, it becomes second nature. You'll no longer feel guilty or anxious when someone crosses your line, because you'll know exactly what to do. You'll enforce your boundary with grace, confidence, and clarity. And here's the big question: are you ready to take that step? Are you ready to stop allowing others to dictate how you feel and start owning your space with unapologetic confidence? Because let me tell you something, the moment you set clear boundaries is the moment your life will begin to change. You will stop settling for less than you deserve, and you'll start attracting the kind of people who see your value and respect your limits. This is your time to step into your power, to take control of your life and your relationships, and to show the world that you won't settle for anything less than the best. What if I told you that the difference between a successful, fulfilling relationship and one that's filled with conflict, misunderstandings, and frustration often boils down to one simple factor? It's not your looks, your career, or even your shared interests. It's your emotional intelligence. Yes, emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, manage, and express your emotions in a way that fosters healthy, positive relationships. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your emotions took over, causing you to react impulsively, say things you didn't mean, or push someone away? Or maybe you've been in a relationship where communication felt like an uphill battle, where you just couldn't connect emotionally no matter how hard you tried. Sound familiar? That's the power of emotional intelligence, or rather, the lack of it. But don't worry, this isn't a permanent state. In fact, emotional intelligence is something you can cultivate and strengthen, and when you do, the results will be nothing short of transformative. So let's explore how you can cultivate emotional intelligence and change the course of your relationships in your life forever. Now, let's start with the hard truth: emotions are messy. They are unpredictable, overwhelming, and sometimes downright confusing. But here's the thing, emotions are also powerful. They guide us, shape our decisions, and impact every area of our lives. And if you don't learn to master your emotions, they will master you. The first step in cultivating emotional intelligence is learning to understand your emotions. When you feel angry, frustrated, or upset, what's really going on beneath the surface? Are you hurt? Are you afraid? Are you feeling neglected or unsupported? Too often we react to our emotions without understanding them, letting them drive our actions in ways we later regret. But when you take the time to pause, reflect, and ask yourself why you're feeling the way you are, you begin to gain control over your emotional responses. This is the first step in becoming emotionally intelligent, developing self-awareness. And here's where it gets interesting: the more self-aware you become, the less reactive and impulsive you'll be. You'll start to respond to situations with clarity and intention, rather than with emotional outbursts or knee-jerk reactions. But here's the kicker: self-awareness isn't always easy. It requires brutal honesty with yourself and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. And that, my friend, can be a real challenge. But here's the good news: once you begin to understand your emotions, the next step is learning how to manage them. It's one thing to recognize that you're angry, but it's another thing entirely to control how that anger manifests. How many times have you said something hurtful in the heat of the moment, only to wish you could take it back? Emotional intelligence teaches you to pause before reacting, to assess the situation, and to respond with calm and purpose. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about channeling them in a healthy, constructive way. For example, instead of lashing out at someone when you're upset, you can take a deep breath, step back, and communicate your feelings in a way that promotes understanding. Instead of letting fear or anxiety control your decisions, you can learn to acknowledge those emotions and take deliberate action, rather than avoiding them. This is emotional regulation in action, and it's a game changer in your relationships. Now, here's where things start to get really exciting. Once you begin mastering your own emotions, the next level of emotional intelligence is learning to empathize with others. This is the key to building deep, meaningful connections. Have you ever been in a conversation where the other person just gets you? They don't interrupt. They don't judge, they simply listen and understand. That's the power of empathy. It's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to truly feel what they're feeling, and to respond with compassion. This is an essential skill in any relationship, romantic or otherwise. Because here's the thing, everyone has their own emotional landscape, and sometimes what's happening on the surface isn't the full story. When you can read between the lines, understand the emotions behind someone's words, and respond in a way that shows you're truly listening, you create a bond that goes far deeper than just surface level conversation. But empathy isn't always easy, especially when you're dealing with someone who's upset or angry. It's easy to take things personally and get defensive. But when you cultivate empathy, you learn to step back from your own emotional reactions and listen with an open heart. It's about meeting the other person where they are without judgment or agenda. And here's the twist, emotional intelligence isn't just about understanding other people, it's about managing the emotional dynamics of your relationships. How many times have you found yourself in a relationship where communication was strained, where it felt like you were constantly walking on eggshells, or where conflict seemed inevitable? That's because emotional intelligence isn't just about understanding your own emotions or empathizing with others, it's about navigating the emotional currents between you and the people you interact with. Think of it like dancing. If you're not in sync with your partner, you're likely to step on each other's toes. But when both people are emotionally intelligent, when both can understand, manage, and respond to each other's emotions, it's like a graceful, harmonious dance. You move together with ease, understanding each other's needs, desires, and fears. And the result? A relationship that flows, that feels supportive and fulfilling, not draining or frustrating. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually get there? Here's where the magic happens. Cultivating emotional intelligence isn't something that happens overnight. It's a lifelong journey of growth and development. But here's the exciting part, every time you practice self-awareness, emotional regulation, and empathy, you're building your emotional intelligence. Every time you choose to pause before reacting, to listen with intention, or to communicate your feelings without blame, you're strengthening your emotional muscles. It's a process and it requires patience, commitment, and practice. But I promise you, the rewards are worth it. When you begin to operate from a place of emotional intelligence, your relationships will transform. You'll attract people who are aligned with your emotional maturity, who value clear communication, and who are capable of deep, meaningful connections. And most importantly, you'll begin to experience a sense of inner peace and confidence, because you'll know that no matter what life throws at you, you have the emotional tools to handle it with grace and wisdom. But here's the thing, just when you think you've mastered emotional intelligence, life will throw you another curveball. You'll face new challenges, new people, and new emotional dynamics that will test everything you've learned. But that's the beauty of this journey. It's never about perfection, it's about progress. Every day is an opportunity to practice, to grow, and to become even more emotionally intelligent than you were yesterday. And I'm here to tell you, the more you cultivate emotional intelligence, the more you will begin to experience the kind of relationships and the kind of life that you've always dreamed of. The power is in your hands. Are you ready to take control of your emotions and transform your relationships forever? The choice is yours. Do you ever feel like you're constantly running on empty, trying to please everyone around you, yet somehow never having enough energy left for yourself? Maybe you're overwhelmed by responsibilities, pulled in a million different directions, or caught in the cycle of caring for others at the expense of your own well-being. What if I told you that your constant hustle and neglect of your own needs is not only harming your health, but also sabotaging your ability to attract the life you deserve? Yes, you heard me right. Self-care is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. But here's the harsh truth. Most women put self-care on the back burner, convincing themselves that they'll get to it later, only to wake up years later feeling depleted, resentful, and unfulfilled. Imagine a life where you're not just surviving, but thriving, full of energy, joy, and a deep sense of peace. It all starts with one powerful choice: engaging in self-care. Let me show you why this is the one decision that will change everything. First, let's talk about the myth that self-care is selfish. I know I've heard it too, but there's so much to do. How can I take time for myself when everyone else needs me? I get it, life is busy. But let me ask you this, how can you pour from an empty cup? How can you give your best to others when you're running on fumes? The truth is, neglecting your own well-being doesn't make you a hero, it makes you a ticking time bomb. Sooner or later, the stress will catch up with you. You'll burn out, you'll get sick, or you'll reach a breaking point where you feel like you've given everything you have and there's nothing left. That's the fear, the reality that so many women face when they continue to put others before themselves. But here's the good news, self-care doesn't have to mean locking yourself in a spa for a week though. Let's be honest, that sounds amazing. It's about learning to prioritize yourself in small, meaningful ways every single day. It's about taking the time to replenish your energy, to nurture your body, mind, and soul, so that you can show up as the best version of yourself, not just for others, but for you. And let me tell you, once you make self-care a priority, the results will be nothing short of transformative. So let's break this down. What does engaging in self-care actually look like? Well, first and foremost, it's about setting boundaries. And no, that doesn't mean you need to be rude or inflexible, but it does mean saying no when you're stretched too thin. It means protecting your time and energy so that you can invest in yourself without guilt. Think about it, every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're taking away energy from your own well-being. But when you start saying no to things that don't serve you, you're saying yes to the most important person in your life. And that's where the magic begins. Self-care requires you to reclaim your time, to stop letting others dictate how you spend your day, and to honor your own needs. Whether it's taking time to read a book, meditate, take a walk in nature, or simply enjoy a quiet moment with a cup of tea, these small acts of self-care will start to shift the way you feel about yourself and your life. Now, here's the part where many people get stuck. You see, self-care isn't just about physical activities like exercise or skincare routines, it's about taking care of your emotional and mental health too. And this is where the real transformation happens. Too many women neglect their mental health, telling themselves that they'll deal with their feelings later. But what happens when you bottle up stress, anxiety, and unresolved emotions? They start to pile up until they become overwhelming, leading to burnout, emotional breakdowns, or even physical illness. Emotional self-care is about creating space to process your feelings, to sit with discomfort, and to practice mindfulness. It's about journaling your thoughts, seeking support when you need it, and giving yourself permission to feel your emotions without judgment. It's also about setting boundaries in your relationships, knowing when to step back from toxic situations, when to have difficult conversations, and when to protect your mental space. When you prioritize your emotional well-being, you begin to feel more centered, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. But wait, there's more. It's not just about your emotions, your mental health also needs nurturing. In a world that constantly demands your attention, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the noise. Social media, work pressures, family expectations, sometimes it feels like everyone wants a piece of you. That's why mental self-care is so crucial. It's about setting aside time to clear your mind, to disconnect from the chaos, and to focus on things that bring you peace. Maybe it's meditation, mindfulness, or simply taking a break from the constant flood of information. It's about shifting your mindset from one of stress and overwhelm to one of calm and clarity. And guess what? When you begin to prioritize your mental health, you'll notice a shift in the way you approach challenges. Problems will feel more manageable. Your mind will feel clearer, and your thoughts will be more focused. You'll be able to think more creatively, make decisions more easily, and approach your relationships from a place of strength rather than exhaustion. And here's the kicker, when you start engaging in regular self-care, you'll notice something remarkable. Your ability to attract positive, fulfilling relationships will skyrocket. Why? Because when you take care of yourself, you radiate confidence, energy, and peace. You become magnetic, attracting people who align with the highest version of yourself. And when you start to feel good about yourself, you naturally begin to attract the kind of relationships that nourish your soul. It's the law of attraction in action. When you value and take care of yourself, the universe responds by sending people and opportunities that mirror that energy back to you. But here's the catch: this doesn't happen overnight. Self-care is a practice, a mindset, and a commitment. And like any new habit, it takes time to see the full benefits. But I promise you this: when you commit to engaging in self-care every single day, you'll begin to experience a profound shift in your life. You'll stop feeling drained, frustrated, and overwhelmed, and you'll start to feel empowered, confident, and fulfilled. So here's the question: are you ready to make self-care a non-negotiable part of your life? Are you ready to stop neglecting your own needs and start showing up for yourself in the way you deserve? Because I'm here to tell you, when you make that commitment, everything changes. You will become the best version of yourself, attracting the love, success, and happiness you've always dreamed of. And most importantly, you'll learn that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's the most loving, empowering thing you can do for your mind, body, and soul. The choice is yours. Will you continue to put yourself last, or will you finally choose to prioritize your well-being and transform your life? What if I told you that the key to unlocking your fullest potential, to attracting the right people into your life, and to creating the love and success you dream of, lies not in staying the same, but in being open to growth? Imagine for a moment the woman you want to be, the confident, radiant, and empowered version of yourself. What's stopping you from becoming her? More often than not, it's not the world around you, it's your own resistance to change. You see, growth isn't always easy. It's uncomfortable. It challenges everything you thought you knew about yourself. But here's the harsh truth: if you're not willing to grow, you're choosing to stay stuck. And trust me, staying stuck is one of the most dangerous things you can do, not just for your personal development, but for your relationships, your happiness, and your future. So let's dive in and explore why being open to growth is the secret ingredient to transforming your life. Let's start with this: growth requires you to step into the unknown. We all have comfort zones, those familiar, safe places where we feel secure. But here's the problem: nothing ever changes in your comfort zone. Nothing new comes in. Nothing evolves. And if you stay there for too long, you risk becoming stagnant, stuck in the same patterns, same relationships, and same frustrations. Does that sound like a life you want? I didn't think so. But stepping outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. When you make the conscious choice to embrace growth, you're saying yes to discomfort, you're saying yes to challenges, to the possibility of failure, and to the unknown. And here's where the fear sets in. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough. But let me tell you this: that fear is normal. It's a part of the process. It's the signal that you're actually doing something right. Because here's the thing: growth never happens without a little bit of discomfort. So when you feel that fear creeping in, don't run from it. Embrace it, lean into it, because it's the key to your transformation. Now, you might be wondering, but how do I actually become open to growth? Where do I start? The answer is simple: by changing your mindset. You see, growth isn't just about taking action, it's about changing the way you think. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Let's break that down. A fixed mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and talents are set in stone, that who you are right now is who you'll always be. You may think things like, I'm just not good enough, or I'll never be successful, but here's the catch: this belief keeps you trapped. It keeps you from trying new things, from taking risks, and from reaching for the life you deserve. On the other hand, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can evolve and improve with effort, practice, and persistence. It's the belief that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but a lesson in what you need to learn in order to grow. It's the mindset that says, I can do hard things, I am capable of change, and my potential is limitless. And here's the exciting part: when you start adopting a growth mindset, you stop seeing obstacles as barriers. You start seeing them as opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. Every setback becomes a stepping stone toward your success. And that shift, it will change everything for you. But here's where most people get stuck: growth is a continuous journey, not a destination. And this is where the real magic happens. So many of us expect instant results. We want to feel different, to see changes immediately. But growth doesn't work like that. It's a process, a journey that requires patience, commitment, and resilience. And let's be honest, how many times have you started something new, whether it's a fitness goal, a career change, or a new relationship, only to feel discouraged when things don't happen overnight? It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, this isn't working. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, but here's the truth: success doesn't happen in a day. It happens in small, consistent actions over time. It's the decisions show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's the willingness to try, to fail, and to try again. And when you commit to growth in this way, when you stop expecting instant results and start enjoying the process, you begin to experience breakthroughs. Your growth becomes exponential. And that's when things start to get really exciting. But the journey of growth isn't just about pushing yourself, it's about understanding that you don't have to do it alone. One of the most powerful ways to accelerate your growth is to surround yourself with people who support and encourage you. Think about it. How often do we let fear or self-doubt keep us from reaching out to others, from asking for help, or from sharing our struggles? We think we have to figure everything out on our own, but that's not the case. True growth happens when we open ourselves up to others, when we lean on the wisdom of those who've walked the path before us. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a community of like-minded individuals, finding support can make all the difference. And here's a little secret: the people you surround yourself with will either lift you up or hold you back. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, who inspire you to grow, who inspire you to be your best self, and who push you out of your comfort zone. These are the people who will help you see the potential within you that you might not even recognize yet. They will help you stay accountable, motivated, and inspired as you continue your journey of growth. But here's the hard truth: growth isn't always easy. It's not always glamorous. There will be days when you feel like giving up. There will be moments when you question yourself, when the setbacks feel overwhelming, and when the fear feels paralyzing. But it's in those moments that your commitment to growth will be tested. Will you give up when things get hard, or will you push through and rise stronger? This is where the real test of your growth lies. It's in the moments when you feel like you can't go any further but choose to take one more step. It's in the moments when you feel like quitting but choose to keep going anyway. And here's the thing: when you push through those tough times, when you keep moving forward, that's when you experience the breakthroughs. That's when you start to see the results of all your hard work and perseverance. But you have to be open to the process. You have to trust that every challenge, every failure, and every setback is simply part of the journey. Now, imagine what your life would look like if you truly embraced the journey of growth. Imagine what you could accomplish if you let go of your fears, stopped doubting yourself, and fully committed to becoming the best version of yourself. The possibilities are endless. So I'm asking you today, are you ready to take the first step? Are you ready to embrace growth, to step outside your comfort zone, and to unlock the version of yourself that's been waiting to emerge? Because the truth is, growth isn't a choice, it's a necessity. If you want a life of fulfillment, love, and success, you must be willing to grow. And I promise you, when you open yourself up to this journey, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. The time to start is now. The question is, will you take that first step? As you stand at the threshold of transformation, the question isn't whether you're capable of change, it's whether you're willing to embrace it. Growth is not an endpoint, but a journey of continuous discovery, where every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. By choosing to prioritize self-care, embody confidence, set clear boundaries, cultivate emotional intelligence, and remain open to growth, you're not just reshaping your life, you're creating a ripple effect of empowerment and possibility. The path ahead may feel uncertain, even daunting, but within that uncertainty lies the extraordinary. So take the leap, trust the process, and remember, the most powerful transformation begins the moment you decide to honor your potential and live fully in alignment with the person you are destined to be.